So it's only January 10th of 2024, and Disney is already making sure to flush many of their properties down the toilet. Everything ranging from Marvel to Star Wars to, of course, now many of their Disney movies in general. But one of the biggest ones that they are banking on and placing all bets on is the upcoming film for July, Deadpool 3 by writers Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, and yes, even Ryan Reynolds. And there's been a lot of drama surrounding this film, especially now with what Bob Iger / the heads over at Disney recently did against Reynolds. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So, one thing that we know about Deadpool 3 is that it is going to meddle with the multiverse, something that a lot of people are very tired about and exhausted over, and it's going to be very driven by cameo appearances. Of course, the main selling point is the return of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, right? That's the main thing that people are looking forward to, especially with the design change as far as his outfit goes. But what's interesting about all this has a lot to do with what Bob Iger recently established behind the scenes that is deeply impacting Ryan Reynolds, not just as a writer, but also as an actor. Let's get into it. Now, the thing about Deadpool 3 is that we know that this is Ryan Reynolds' baby. He has said this before many times in the past, that this is something that he has valued for years and has been fighting to make for years, to kind of wrap this up as a full-fledged trilogy, to kind of just bring closure to the Deadpool character in the main film style. But what's interesting about all of this is that with the Deadpool 3 drama only getting worse for those high up at Disney, one major development has to do with what Bob Iger recently did to Ryan Reynolds as a form of banishment for the third Deadpool film that came across as a shocker for many of the cast and crew members. Now, the plan by Reynolds for the third act was to include a series of scenes that would include improvised scenes, without the use of written dialogue by himself, Rhett Reese, or even Paul Wernick. Now, the back and forth situation and arguments that Ryan and Bob Iger were involved in are what recently led Ryan in a certain scenario where he has now been banished and locked from using any scenes that were written that would include improvised dialogue, so to speak, which reportedly was a significant amount of scenes for the Deadpool 3 characters. Bob Iger recently greenlit this plan to banish Ryan Reynolds from not only making any further improvised dialogue for the scenes that were partially written for the script, not just due to the struggles and creative differences, but also due to the fact that Bob Iger reportedly was not impressed with Ryan Reynolds' creative differences, of course, and interference as well with Deadpool 2, mind you, that also included improvised dialogue by Ryan. This was the final push that led to Bob Iger making the decision, and as a result, a loss of scenes will occur for last-minute filming, which Disney is in the talks of embracing minor reshoots that will be shot quickly and/or during post-production, which could result in a film release delay. Now, something Ryan is already frustrated about is a total of 7 scenes were reportedly completely axed by Bob Iger, that equal to around 30 minutes of running time, that as, of course, quickly involved improvised dialogue, and even some scenes from Ryan as both Wade Wilson and Deadpool when masked, where the jokes to Disney were considered too offensive even for a rated R film. One of the most significant scenes that were recently cut from the film involved improvised dialogue between both Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, sitting in a bar drinking scotch, with Deadpool making filthy jokes with his mask half rolled up. This was said to be one of the funniest scenes that included unwritten dialogue, where Ryan gave Hugh Jackman the liberty to provide dialogue right off the bat with a lot of F-words, on set during a total of 7 takes for the comedic scene. It was reportedly a scene very similar to Jackman's appearance in First Class, through elongated, of course, up to around 3 minutes in length, featuring Deadpool annoying Wolverine while they are celebrating a certain accomplishment during the third act of the film. Now guys, let me just say one thing about this before I move on, is the fact that Bob Iger is, I feel, really going out of his way to sabotage this movie, either for the sake of Disney or just as a way to get back at Ryan Reynolds, who knows, but there's something going on here with Bob Iger and Ryan. Now, we know that Bob Iger has had his problems with other productions before in the past in a similar fashion. The fact that they have now banished Ryan Reynolds from making any further scenes to be shot that involve a lot of unwritten dialogue, a lot of improvised sequences that involved improvised dialogue. And some of the scenes were partially written material that included all of those unwritten lines of dialogue for characters like Wolverine, Deadpool, and many of the Deadpool 3 cameos. This is something that Bob Iger does not want, because a lot of that improvised material, to his mind, included offensive, comedic moments, offensive jokes, so to speak. Even for a rated R movie, Bob Iger felt it was too much, at least for Disney's overall image. And look, we know that the main reason why Ryan Reynolds created that little comedic piece during the Golden Globes that appeared online, where he appeared on stage, he was holding a little trophy, it was like a little joke. A lot of it had to do with Ryan kind of striking back at Disney and really kind of low-key calling them out that he does not want to F up his movie. That's basically what he said on camera, and it was an interesting way of Ryan really kind of, indirectly calling out Disney. And that was something that he put together behind the scenes, by the way, in a matter of like 1 to 2 days. It was quickly done through green screen. But what's interesting about that has a lot to do with this, alright? Now, in conclusion, Bob Iger was quick to remove the scene with, of course, Jackman and Ryan. Ryan is now completely banished from allowing actors or even himself to engage in unwritten material, and that all scenes will be looked over by the script supervisor as ordered by Disney to look over any continuity issues and or script changes. This is something that Ryan, Rhett, and Paul are already infuriated about when it comes to studio interference for the film, which is only creating trouble for everyone down the line. Now, again, like I mentioned before, Bob Iger had a very big problem with Deadpool 2 after looking that film over, and how they learned, quite late mind you, that yes, Ryan Reynolds had a lot more creative involvement in that film than the first Deadpool movie, at least dialogue-wise. That may be why some fans had some problems with the second Deadpool film. Not a lot of fans, mind you, but there are some fans out there that felt that Deadpool 2 was a complete downturn in comparison to the first. But I don't think it was related to Ryan's writing per se. I think that Bob Iger's just looking for excuses, and at the end of the day, they just don't want offensive material in what, of course, is a rated R film that really does not deserve to be limited or to be suppressed in any way, shape, or form. So this is another fine example of Bob Iger truly going into a moment of sabotage and bringing a movie down to its knees, similar to what he did with Star Wars, with many of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, the latest one, of course, being The Marvels, where he ordered Kevin Feige to dial back on marketing expenses, but that wasn't the main reason at all why the movie failed. A lot of it had to do with the script and Nia DaCosta's direction as a director. But I would love to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.